On the road to Macstock with Brett Terpstra. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by TV Plus Talk, our MacVoices series with Charlotte Henry focused on Apple TV Plus. From shows and other content to the business side of things, there's always something to learn about Apple's streaming service. Find it in the categories listings on the MacVoices website, or go directly to macvoices.com/category/TV-talk. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we're on the road to Macstock in Crystal Lake, Illinois in July. We do this every year, talking to the presenters, maybe a few guests, some supporting vendors, anybody else we can talk about that we think you should hear from before you make it to Macstock, so that you get a sense of who's going to be talking about what. We ask the presenters not to give their presentations, but to talk about what their presentations are, what you will learn, and why you should come. This time, we get to talk to Brett Terpstra, who is a longtime Macstock presenter, as well as just a genuinely good guy. Brett, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So I know every year, a couple times you've gone down the expected routes with people that know you from all your projects and all. Other times you've come right out of left field with something we didn't expect that was equally great. So this year, what are you going to be talking about?
This year I will be talking about probably the topic I am most passionate about, which is Markdown. It has seen a huge resurgence, or a surgence, I guess. It's always been somewhat popular, but now it's becoming massively popular, and I want to get people into it. And the talk is called From Spark to Published, and it will be about a little bit about how to write Markdown, a little bit about how to process Markdown, and mostly how to go from an idea all the way to a published book or blog post or whatever it is, whatever platform you would like to publish on, and just to show you how easy it is to get ideas out there.
For the folks that don't know, how about if you tell us what Markdown is? Because it's one of those terms that gets thrown around a lot, and I think people perceive it as primarily, if not exclusively, for programmers.
Right. Okay. Yes. So Markdown was invented by John Gruber back in the early 2000s, I think. And it is a way of writing HTML, which can be complex to write with all the tags and all of the semantic issues you deal with. If you miss a closing tag, it breaks the whole rest of the post, kind of thing. Markdown makes it easier, reduces those tags to just single characters that you can use to do things like italics, bold, and links. And ultimately, it gives you the ability to write clean, future-proof text with styling without having to deal with something bloated like Microsoft Word or even Apple Pages, and gives you a clean, portable text file that you can use anywhere, and that will never, ever be, you'll never be unable to open it, no matter what happens with the future of Mac or whatever platform you're on. Even if you switch away from Mac, you won't lose your files. Everything will be permanently available. So Markdown basically is a very low-tech way to make clean HTML. And in this day and age, you can also use it to make EPUBs, PDF, rich text, whatever you need.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about okay, so now we know what Markdown is. What do I need? What do we need to be? What do I need to write Markdown? We just said avoid pages, avoid Word, because that's what you're trying to replace. What
Sure.
am I doing this in?
So every Mac comes with TextEdit, and TextEdit, if you turn off rich text mode, that is a text editor, and you can write Markdown, and you can get all kinds of way more advanced editing with things like VS Code and Sublime Text. But there are also a ton of really good Markdown editors like Multi-Markdown Composer, Typora, even like apps like Bear use Markdown. And so there are apps to make it just as easy as it would be in like Pages, where you can just hit Command B to make bold, Command I for italics, Command K to make a link. All the keyboard shortcuts you're kind of already used to work in these things that are officially labeled as Markdown editors. But in essence, any text editor, including TextEdit, is writing Markdown. Markdown is just plain text.
Okay. And you have a few utilities of your own that relate to Markdown.
I do. Yes, we will be talking about it. By the time Macstock rolls around, Mark III will be well into its full existence. Right now, it's a beta app that I'm hoping to launch in the next couple of weeks. Today's the April 2nd. I hope to have it live within a week and a half of today. And I will be providing trial codes to everyone who joins the Macstock talk. It's a 90-minute session, like a workshop. And I will also be providing discount codes for all Macstock attendees to get in on the brand new Mark III. I also have NV Ultra, which should be released by the same time, which is a great way to take notes using Markdown. And I will also have a new app called Blogbook that will make it super easy to convert WordPress, micro.blog, and Ghost blogs into Markdown files that you can edit and turn into any format you want.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
And I should say, I have over 100 projects on GitHub that are free to use that are related to Markdown, but most of them are way nerdier, like mostly command line tools, some system services, things like that.
I'm probably taking this as an aside, but you really intrigued me. So I've got a WordPress blog. Why would I want to take those posts and do something else with them?
Archiving. We have all learned exactly how temporary the web can be. You lose a domain name. You decide you want to stop writing and don't want to pay your server costs anymore. Like, what happens to your last 10 years of writing? This gives you a way to create permanent, portable versions of long-standing blogs, including publishing direct to EPUB, which you can distribute and sell if you ever decide, I've written so much stuff, people might want to buy this. That's a secondary usage. For the primary use, I would say it's archival.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like so much of this has to do with what I'm creating now. And that's why I ask about the blog book, because that feels like, okay, now I can see how this would be very advantageous to have, so that it is a lot, I think you said it earlier, but I didn't really fully grasp it. It's a lot more portable to do multiple things with.
Yeah. Let me describe portable. So plain text is kind of the secondary level on your machine. You've got like your binary and your like assembly language level, which is like system level, human unreadable. But then you get ASCII text, which is human readable. It's plain text. It's what you're used to reading. And it has existed since the dawn of computers and will never not exist because it's such a fundamental level of any operating system. So when something is portable, it means you can read the same file on Linux, on Windows, on Mac, on your iPhone, anywhere you want it to go without needing any special application. And applications come and go. Like I have WordStar files from late 80s, early 90s that nothing can open anymore. And if they were plain text, I would still be able to open them without needing any special application.
Got it. Okay, so now we know what Markdown is. We know how simple it is, or at least to understand, and now we have some use cases. So this sounds like a session that everybody should be potentially interested in.
Yeah. It is for, I think, every Macstock attendee. There are people in the world that are just perfectly happy writing in Word and don't see any problem with a huge bloated toolbar and spending half of their writing time fiddling with formatting and wrestling with word peculiarities. But for anyone who has, I would say, anyone who is or aspires to be a power user of any kind, Markdown is a vital tool. And even for people who might otherwise, people who would never write HTML, like that's no longer the primary use case for Markdown. All AI agents speak Markdown, and they provide their responses in Markdown, even if it's formatted to view as rich text. It's written in Markdown, and all the big note apps now read Markdown. Even Notes from Apple has Markdown capabilities, and so learning Markdown is kind of becoming a crucial skill to any level of like Mac power user.
Is you mentioned that all the LLMs speak Markdown?
Yeah.
Is that what you meant when we started this? When you said there's been a surge of interest?
Yes. Yes. I have seen. So I have had marked my preview app for Markdown, which handles all kinds of previewing and conversion capabilities. It has been around for over a decade, and over the last 5 years, it has just had relatively stable sales. Since 2026 really saw the burst for me, but now my sales are 5 times monthly what they had been for 5 years, because everyone is realizing that the more you get into using AI, the more it becomes relevant to be able to look at very large Markdown files in a very human readable way, in a more pleasant way than just plain text. And that's what Mark does. And so I can vouch that AI has driven the surge in Markdown popularity.
Unpack that just for me for a second. So, because right now, I didn't think about feeding marked files to an LLM, and what I think I heard you say is that this helps you read back what the LLM gives you from a formatted standpoint, as opposed to just a rich text format. Did I get it right?
Sure. Yeah. So in communicating with an LLM, you can use Markdown to kind of create structure to your instructions. So if you're just writing a sentence of instruction, I mean, that's technically Markdown anyway, because you're writing in plain text. But if you wanted to give an LLM kind of a list of topics, you could use a bullet list. If you wanted to break an instruction into multiple sections, you could use headlines, just by putting pound characters in front of text. So you break it into bite-size instructions, and then you can LLMs recognize emphasis like italics, and you can use italics to make sure that the LLM reads this as an important part of your instruction. And then when you're getting response back, if you're just getting a paragraph back, or they're writing you an email or whatever, you don't necessarily need a Markdown previewer to deal with that. But it is speaking Markdown. And if you're asking for anything larger, like a big table of data, you're going to want to load that as a Markdown file into a Markdown capable application if you really want to be able to view it.
Okay. That makes perfect sense, because I've had that experience of having a table created for me, and then I can look at it in the LLM but it does become,
Yeah.
to use your word, it is not necessarily portable.
Yeah, it's untenable to do large data operations to view the results in any chat window.
Okay. So you said this is a workshop, which means it's a 90-minute session. So by the end of this, will we all be able to write Markdown?
You'll yes. I can teach you Markdown in 20 minutes max. Like, it's such a simple kind of language to learn. Anyone can do it. And I can teach you some advanced stuff in another 10, 15 minutes. And then I can give you time to play. And I will give you the tools to be able to see as you write how your Markdown will render in a more rich text kind of web looking way. And then I will give you tools to turn whatever you write into, say, an online page, a blog post, or even a web book, an ebook.
Okay. And from what you said earlier, the only thing anyone needs to bring to this session, other than a willingness to learn, is a text editor, which we have, on our iPads and iPhones too, and Macs as well.
Yeah, and prior to Macstock, I will send out a list of links to download free versions of apps that might be useful. But yeah, it's all optional because you can write it in TextEdit and we can view it. I can give you web-based tools for previewing, and this doesn't have to be an expensive trip for anybody.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm looking forward to it. I've learned a little bit of it. I've used it and I've used it and not sure why I was using it. And now, even with this conversation, I have a better idea. And now I'm anxious to see what else you can teach me, because you've already given me some use cases that now I want to see. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now I want to do it. So,
well, and you have a WordPress blog, right?
Yes.
That's what you said?
Yeah.
WordPress, the default Jetpack WordPress plugin bundle has a Markdown editor, or like Markdown capabilities built in. So once you know Markdown, you can write WordPress posts in just plain text and have it render the same way as it would if you used the convoluted block editor and Gutenberg and WordPress with a lot less effort.
It would be so nice to be able to write some nice, clean HTML, because I find that both WordPress itself, but some other editors that I've used, just create a lot of, my way of thinking, gibberish.
It's called Cruft.
Yeah.
And ever since the dawn of WYSIWYG online editors, there has been just an insane amount of cruft generated on the web. Most websites you visit, they use a CMS, and the markup, if you view source on a web page, there's usually 3 or 4 times more markup than there actually needs to be. And when you have that much cruft, it can lead to that many problems. The more you simplify it and the more you use just standard HTML tags and a good semantic structure, the cleaner the output will be, the fewer the risks, and it's also just easier to write.
Okay, this is another one that I'm definitely looking forward to, even more than I was just the fact that you were going to be presenting. Now you've given me a lot of use cases, and you've given me some homework too, so I appreciate it.
No problem.
So I know Mike was going to give out speaker codes. Have you received yours yet?
Mine will be TTSCOFF as usual, TTSCOFF.
Great. Okay, so use that code to register for Macstock and take a little bit of money off and help cover some of your travel expenses. But the most important thing is to get registered and get to Macstock. So you want to go to MacstockConference.com. Use Brett's code, TTSCOFF. Mine will be MacVoices. I don't care whose you use either one. Scratch that. You can't stack them, unfortunately. So use Brett's. If you get desperate, use mine. But definitely register and join us. We're going to have a blast at Macstock. It's always a great time, and you come away with a lot of friends and a whole lot of information.
I want to see as many people as possible this year. There's an amazing speaker lineup. It's going to be awesome.
It is. Brett, before I let you get out of here, though, I want to make sure folks know where they can find you and find everything that you do, because you just said that you have so many projects out there.
Yeah. If you go to brettterpstra.com, that's 3 T's in the middle, TTT. And you can also find me on Mastodon as TTScoff at hackaderm.io, which is where I am primarily for social media. And from my website, you can find my projects page that links to all of my main projects. I'm TTScoff on GitHub. Google TTScoff and you can find me just about everywhere.
Great. One last question, and I'll get emails if I don't ask it. What's the cat's name?
Oh, that's Nobody?
Nobody is the cat's
name? That's her name? Yeah. So she was found in a cemetery. And there was a book called The Graveyard Book where the main character is a baby who is adopted by ghosts after his parents are murdered. And the ghosts have no idea who the baby is, so they name it Nobody Owens. And because she was found in a cemetery, we named her Nobody.
Okay. All right. I know at least a couple that are going to be interested, so I wanted to make sure I got that in.
And this guy, that's Morris. No, I'm sorry, that's Richard. They look a lot alike.
So how many are there?
There's 3.
You have 3.
Richard, Morris, and Nobody.
Okay. And then there's Morris's tail. Okay. All right, a little guest appearance there by Brett's Cats.
Always.
Hey, it's great to see you. I'm really looking forward to it, as always, in July. It's coming up fast.
Yeah, it'll be great to see you.
Thanks so much, Brett. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices, and we are on the road to Macstock. Once again, MacstockConference.com. Brett's code is TTScoff. Use it and save a little money, and we will see you there. As always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.